something that you are working on. It doesn't make sense. So at the end of the day, it's natural. It's how you should be patient. I mean, we've learned about being patient and understanding that other person and listening to that person, exactly, and then contributing. It works out really well. So I think people have to be a little bit patient. I don't think even on the roads people are not patient. I mean, when you come to a crossroad, they want to go first all the time. So you let them go first, because I don't want any accidents on the road. So
we have to go in for a short commercial break, but when we come back we'll talk about all the other things, and also we have a few case studies to put across to our two lovely ladies who are going to tell us how to break down these issues that happen in the corporate world and in your everyday life in business, and how to deal with them with a lot of grace and with good manners. So we'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to Gmsl, and when we left you before the break, we were having a lovely chat with Nidra and Mahika on social etiquette and in particular business etiquette, and we were touching on a few topics, and our next point that I want to put through to both of you is watching your language. Nidra, if you could tell us about watching your language in the business world and what exactly this means, especially in terms of using slang words.
Oh no, that's certainly a no. That is completely out. I mean, you must always be very polite. There could be some times, that where people get a little bit, heated up over, with heated discussions and so on and so forth. Yes. But a person who is very well mannered must be always calm and composed.
Yes.
You should never retaliate in that tone. So you have to then, when you keep silent, that person will understand that person is really making a complete fool of himself or herself. So it does happen. I mean, there are people who have been rude sometimes. The tone and the tenor in which they deliver certain things, can hurt us. I mean, I'm basically a sensitive person in the sense, and people are rude. So you got to just take it, because we teach etiquette, and you got to practice what we teach as well.
How best is it to deal with somebody who generally speaks in that particular tone of voice, which is not very polite, especially on a day-to-day basis? How best is it to deal with someone like that?
Mahika, do you come across any like that in your industry?
Yes, we do, but at the same time I always consider them, that's the way they are, that's how they are. So you don't need to be like that.
Yes,
you don't need to.
Absolutely.
So if you actually, it works, and there are so many guests that we meet that they just come on you with all the gung-ho guns on us because there's some problem.
Yes.
You just listen to them, and then you will say, okay, would you like to come and have a cup of tea at our high tea and all of that? Then they calm down, and it's basically, you need to, you can't overpower that voice. You can't. You have to listen to what they have to say, and there are times that you would want to just scream and shout as well, but at the end of the day, you can see, you have to empathize. You have to be in their shoes. The reason why they're screaming and the reason why they are is because they have never got an answer back, a proper answer back.
That's true.
So they have nobody has listened to them. They were always overpowered by giving them back something.
Yes.
But just listening to them and finding a solution to what their problem is. I mean, I always feel that is where we have our strengths in,
I also want to add to that. A little technique that I teach is like, say, even over the phone, and if there's an irate client or face to face, let that fellow scream, and when that person screams, you are not going to say anything.
Sure.
All you can just say is okay, but never go to apologize.
Okay.
You don't apologize at the beginning. You see, you know why?
You can listen to it.
Yeah, just let him take his team off, and he'll scream, rave, rant, abuse, find fault with you. Then you just listen. Okay, in the tone in which you acknowledge what he says.
Sure.
Right? After which, then when you think, it's like a balloon. You let it deflate. Then you just ask, sir or ma'am, is that okay? Then he will say, what have I got to say? Then that's the time you never interrupt, because there's no point, because whatever you say at that time is wrong. See, a lot of people here, when they do this little correct, dealing with the situation, they go to, sorry, I'm extremely sorry, this is the reason. They are not interested in any reasons, because that time the anger takes over them and there's no logic, no sense in what they speak, but they themselves realize. Then you come and then you take over. So I always tell my participants that if you can handle an irate customer or an irate client, just tap yourself on your back, because that it's like consider yourself that you have done a good deed.
Absolutely.
Yes. So we have to have a lot of in us, to
patience.
take all these things.
A lot of
And you
patience.
have to keep face always.
Absolutely. And even if you have a bad day, I mean, everybody tells me, Mahika, I was just telling them, my car got smashed when the floods came, and that particular day at the White House chef, I had to bring the White House chef to the studios, and that particular day my car was, because the wall fell on the car, the car was completely flat, but I couldn't show any kind of distraught. I was fine and all of that. And then everybody said, how do you do it? But I said, look, listen, I'm in an industry that I can't find any kind of situation, because I'm sorry, I'm in an industry, this is how it is.
Yes.
If I do that, that's the end of my personality, that everybody thinks I've got this vivacious personality. So it's yes.
That brings me to my next point,
Sure.
which is thinking twice before you press the send button on your emails.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
I see a lot of stories coming here.
Oh yeah.
Nidra, if you could start.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the letter. I think you should always keep it in draft form. And I have noticed that it has happened to me before. Sometimes you have to see the tone of which, supposing it's a letter that it's a strongly worded reply that you have, and if you are in a bad uptight mood, you don't go to your emails and reply, because your mood is reflected in the word and the tone of the letter. So you have to wait, switch it off, go and listen to a song, go for a walk, come back, and then reply. I've always noticed, even text messages with anyone, don't be in a delay, play for time. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I come into work at 7 to 9 o'clock. My emails, certain things, reports that I have to get ready for, because from 9 to 5 it's firefighting in the hotel. So that's operational issues, and you cannot respond to emails, you cannot write letters, apology letters, certain letters that you need to write to people, TripAdvisor comments that you need to revert back to, you cannot. So then I wait after 5. From 5 to 7, and the phones are not ringing when you have completely to write, because at the end of the day, when you're writing, you have to genuinely write. You can't write something that you feel it's good. So you have to think that that person is going to come back to me, and the answer that she or he is going to ask me as well. So you need to think twice when you're writing. That's what people seem to not understand when they say, why do you stay so late? This is what it is, because you have to really think, because at the end of the day, when they get an email or an answer from me, I need to say that I fulfilled I've rectified it.
Yes, that's true.
I've found a solution to them. So
That's true.
and it has to stop there.
And it takes that much effort to build that kind of reputation.
Absolutely.
That brings us to a very special video that we have ready about the space that you have within your office, especially in terms of cubicle space. Now everybody knows the cubicle spaces, you're in each other's face almost. There's a few interesting things in this video, so we'll take a look at the video, we'll come back and we'll discuss it.
Lovely. Thank you.
How to practice good cubicle etiquette. Being a good neighbor is just as important in the office as it is at home. Step 1. Noise is a #1 complaint, so keep your voice down and respect your co-workers. Step 2. Attend to personal needs like clipping your nails and flossing your teeth in a more appropriate location, like the restroom. Keep your shoes on even if your feet don't smell. Bare feet or socks aren't appropriate in a corporate setting. Step 3. Make personal phone calls outside or on your lunch break, or if you want, in a vacant room with a door you can close. Don't eavesdrop on your colleagues' personal conversations. Don't reference anything you overheard or get involved. Step 4. If you snack at your desk, don't eat anything that is offensive or strong smelling.
Nidra, if you could tell us about what you thought of that video and the few points that were...
Yeah, this is quite hilarious too. It's nice to have things like that actually.
Sure.
What I tell them is that, you see, your cubicle is your own space, your own territory, right? So you have to, sometimes officers are open plan, sometimes they have cubicles,
yes.
whatever. Certain officers will of course go for open plan system where there is open door policies, right? Now when it comes to a little cubicle where there is no, you know, like ventilation, and it is you know, like cramped up, whatever, it's a lot of etiquette that has to be observed. One thing is, if somebody is working on, you know, their laptop, you should never go and barge in, because remember that is their personal space and their personal space. So therefore they got to do a little a little knock, or call their name out, you know, like whatever name, Ranjit or Adam or whatever, they just give a little knock, you know, then they know that you are aware. So if they are immersed in their work, you should not go at all. That is their office. They don't have to be in a huge space to do their work. When they are on the mobile, you don't go. Then another thing is, they sometimes have to make it the dumping ground for their handbags and their files and various things. That also is a no-no. Another one is borrowing things. Like, you know, sometimes you are in short of your stationery or a stapler or whatever it is, you can't. You have to be very professional. As much as she is your friend or he is your friend, you need to go and get your stationery for the week sorted out. You can't go and say, "Hi Mahika, can I borrow your stapler? Hi Sam, can I take your punch? Can I take?" You really can't do those things. You know, those are things. And also what they said about eating and music and talking loud, you know, all those things are, you know, really, really bad. Okay, nowadays everybody uses those headphones. So,
it's true. With reference to cubicles, I think I don't believe in cubicles. I believe cubicles to the point of, I think it should be, I think we're in an industry that we need to integrate rather than be fragmented into little corners and things like that. So if there are cubicles per se, I mean, I think the sales team, when they have their, the sales team have their own little cubicles. But I think it shouldn't be closed up to the top. It should be their little boxes, so they have their own little entity. Because it should be a workflow, through flow kind of area, so that, you know, integration and teamwork is the best way to come to consensus. I mean, you're not that you're not confident within yourself, but it shows that you're not fragmented. You're with the team, you're together, but you need your personal space when you're doing your little sales reports and things like that.
So how do you sort of not get in someone's space? For example, is etiquette really just common sense? Is it something that everybody knows? Like, you have your cubicles, you have your own personal space, but are we taking for granted that everybody has the same sense of respect that we have for another person? So is etiquette really common sense? Do you all see that in practice?
Well, I think it's more common sense, and it's more how you need to be empathetic towards the other person. So let's say that person, we see that that person has a client, so obviously when you're getting phone calls or things like that, you would walk out and, you know, you don't want that, because she's making a business deal there with somebody, so you know you need to be in her shoes. You know, so if that kind of system works, I think all the social etiquette work with, I mean, this is what it is. It's about getting away from your side and feeling the other person